And, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, it's another edition of the Shooting USA podcast and videocast. This time, my distinct pleasure to welcome my friend and the winningest man in the history of the Bianchi Cup, Doug Koenig. Doug, welcome to the podcast.
Thank
welcome
you, John.
to the video show.
Thank you.
It's internet, and it's like television, but it's on the internet. It's radio, but it's on the internet. It's a whole new world, and we're embracing it. Just like we're embracing the fact that you're with a whole new gun sponsor. We've known for years, we've known you in Smith & Wesson Blue. Now it's Hornady Red. That's a huge thing.
Ruger Red.
Well, you wear Hornady Red also, but you're right. The gun sponsor is Ruger, so I completely stumbled on that one. We're well into day one of the NRA's convention, and I'm already saying it's Ruger. That's the new gun sponsor, and that is news. That's noteworthy. Talk about that.
Right. It's, the opportunity, and I had 15 great years at Smith & Wesson, nothing but the best, great career. But it was, sometimes change is just good. It was just time. And, I wanted to kind of take my career a little different direction. I mean, I still want to compete, but I want the opportunity to be more involved in the products, product design, working with project managers and engineers, and that's what kind of gets me excited now is being involved in that and seeing something built, and that I think comes from my carpentry background, wanting to build things. So that just kind of comes through right now and gives me that opportunity to see it in the firearms world.
That, I think, for any competitive shooter is ultimately the goal. I would think that any competitive shooter is going to want to help a company develop and evolve a product. And in this instance, it's like a blank canvas.
Right, it is. They've got some new things on the horizon, and they've got the SR 1911s, and they want to build that family. But for me, there's opportunity even as a competitor. With the Ruger Precision Rifle.
Sure.
I'm starting to shoot some PRS now and do a little 3-gun. There's, the opportunity there is, the sky's the limit for me, and I get to test out some new waters and do some things that I've been wanting to do for a few years and just, structurally just didn't work out.
Right. Well, the precision game, as I've told you, is something that has hooked me in the biggest way, and the viewers know, they've heard me talk about it over and over again. But once you're into that, it is a whole different world of competitive shooting. It is completely different than anything we do in the practical sports.
It is. I shot 2 matches last year, and I'm, the second part of this season, I'm going to try to shoot, at least 4, maybe 6 matches, and I can't wait. I've got my gear all set up. I'm ready to go. Kestrel and my Loophole Mark V, and the precision rifle in 6.5. I got my Hornady ammo. Everything is ready to go. I'm just waiting to get through some of these pistol matches here coming up in the next 6 weeks, and then long range.
Yep, long range, here we come,
baby.
Right? Wow, that Hornady ELD match ammo is absolutely untouchable as far as a factory-loaded competition, PRS competition-oriented ammunition. There is nothing better.
It's amazing, whether it's the ammunition, you tie that with the rifles. Back when I started to shoot, or even as a long-range hunter, you would have had to spend $5,000-6,000. You would have had to hand load all your own ammunition to get the performance that we're getting, with the products now. I mean, the factory ammunition is just it's second to none. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and then there are several other sponsors that are going to benefit from this new relationship. Safariland is there, and not only do they have the holsters, they've got ear protection.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, they're all the way across the board, everyone who's involved with the Doug Koenig brand is going to benefit from this one major move.
Right, right. Yeah, it's it's all partnership and networking and bringing different products and ideas and people together. That's what it's all about.
It's excellent. So we are on the verge of, and you're well into the training for this year's NRA action shooting championship known as the Bianchi Cup.
Yeah.
And that's coming up.
It's coming up, I guess, 2.5 weeks?
Right.
Something like that. So, yeah, I'm right about where I need to be. Once I get done the show here, NRA show, I'll get home and get a few days of training in, and then I'll be on the road a little bit. But, I got some more work to do, a little fine-tuning, but I'll be ready to rock and roll
once
I
awesome.
get there.
I mean, that's one that I've been going to shoot, a long, long, long time. You know, as you know, I mean, we've been seeing each other there for many,
Forever.
many years, and it's always an interesting thing for me as a producer and as somebody who's going to follow that action and try to figure out what's going to happen to make sure I've got all the bases covered. That one is a special challenge because a lot of things happen at once. And they've changed the format again back to the original format.
Right.
So, you know, it's no longer a championship Saturday thing. It's no longer like slam it all together and get as many cameras on the range as you can in a course of about 6 hours.
Right.
Now it's drawn out over the 3 days.
Again.
And that puts people into a different mindset. It puts people as shooters and as competitors into that, okay, I have to be ready for this one of the 4 events, and it all rides on this, shot for shot in this event. And for you guys, the open division, it starts with the practical.
Right.
And that is a staggering undertaking, the 50-yard shots and
Right.
the time limits, and you're looking at the X-ring from 50 yards away.
You know, that's what I love about the match is just the accuracy that is forced upon you to do well. And I think, you know, starting out on the practical, you know, I like doing it. You know, we get to go prone still, you
Sure.
know, until they change that rule back again. Who knows?
Yeah, well.
But, you know, I love it. And but it does. It changes the dynamics of how you as a competitor, you know, look at the match, you know, back to the old format as
Right.
versus, you know, last year it was just a qualifying and then we had the finals in one day. The year before, the first 3 days also counted. It was a combination.
Right.
So, you know, they're trying different combinations here of what they want to do. But, you know, I just tell people I'm going to be ready to go. Whatever,
Right. No
whatever
matter
we
what
got
it
to
is.
do. Let's
Yep.
just tell me where I need to be, what time, and we'll see what happens.
So day 2 of the Bianchi Cup, historically for the open front runners, will be the barricades and then the plates.
That's correct.
Barricades in the morning, sometime, you know, 9, 10 a.m.
Yep.
Is from an outsider looking in, or from someone who doesn't have a full understanding of what it takes to shoot the Bianchi Cup, is the barricade a bit of a phone-in that you can just slap the gun up on the barricade and hold the wings and just put the dot where it needs to be and pull the trigger? I mean, in terms of it can't be that simple.
Well, it's not, you know, and when you look at whether you're shooting production or metallic, you know, they're trying to shoot clean. But even though it looks like it's simple with the open guns, but the problem is any little error you have now is magnified because you have to put in a solid score. Right. So really it comes down to maybe not as much shooting technique, but it's how to get on the barricade, your draw, all those. That technique now has to be perfected.
Yes.
So that once you're on, you can, you know, manipulate the gun, fire the shots, and come out with a good score. I mean, really, to win the match, I mean, if you don't shoot, I mean, on the low end, 45x, but you got to be 46, 47, 48. You can't give away stuff there. And I've seen over the years, I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff at the match, but, you know, I've seen top shooters, you know, bobble on their transfer and shoot an 8 on the barricade.
Right. That's the end of your run.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's
Adios.
over. Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
So it's it looks easy, and to some shooters, wow, it's just, you know, you lock on and you shoot, but I wish it were that easy.
Sure.
I mean, I get
it's not.
just as nervous because I know if you have a boo-boo there, it's going to be very
game
painful.
Over. Right,
okay?
absolutely. The from there, then it's the plates that afternoon, and there is no margin for error with the plates.
That's no man's land. You missed that one.
Right. Yeah, it's over.
It's way gone.
Rob Latham has called the plates many times. He's referred to the plates as the most stressful event in all of the shooting sports.
Yeah, you know, and you know, for him shooting metallic or production, it's probably got a little higher stress level because, again, shooting the iron sight guns, and a lot of them don't do any prone until maybe 25. So there's an added dimension. For the open, again, it's probably not as much the shots as it is the technique, getting prone, and just surviving it.
Sure.
You know, that's the key because, again, they're at a level that if they miss a plate, yeah, they're probably not going to win, but they might, depending what other shooters do. But in the open class, I mean, you're not going to be top 20 if you miss a plate.
Right.
You're so far gone.
Yep.
There's no coming back from that. Even if it would have been the other format where you had to shoot again, I mean, you're just buried.
Right.
You know?
And then ultimately for the open division, it culminates with the mover on Friday afternoon. So you haven't done anything since Thursday afternoon.
Right.
Would you, as a competitor, and I don't know this, I'm asking this because I don't know, would you typically go to the practice range and shoot a mover before going and shooting a mover?
Yeah.
For score?
I typically do. I mean,
Okay.
I typically just, you know, really more than anything, just to do something.
Yeah.
because
rather than sit in the hotel and watch TV.
yeah, I mean, it'd be different if we shot at 9 or 10 in the morning, but typically they make us wait till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And it's like, I'm here to match. I want to shoot. I want to do something. So
Right.
I'll typically, go over, shoot maybe a practice one, clean my gun,
Right.
just kind of idle something, do something, and then maybe shoot one more or check a zero and time to go.
Yeah.
At that point, you're not learning anything. You're not, I mean, if you're not ready to go by the time you get there,
Yeah.
chances are you're not ready to go.
Right. So that's the next question, because I've remarked a number of times over the years in coverage, when you walk out to the mover, you don't speak to anyone. You've got your glasses on, you've got your blinders in place. You fill out your targets, you check in with the range officer, and then you sit in such a way and you are so still. It's almost hypnotic. It's kind of a soothing thing to watch. I know for you, you're slowing your heart rate. You're maintaining all of your levels, making sure the adrenaline dump is under control. Have you ever monitored your heart rate to see where it ends up and see if it spikes as you shoot the event, see what happens?
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time. I played with that a lot years ago. But now, after doing it so much, I kind of can feel where I'm at. And it does get elevated once I get on the line. I just want to try to keep my, stuff together before I get out there. And to me, that time is just collect my thoughts, make sure I have all my gear, my mags are all loaded, and just make sure I have everything ready because, you can forget something. That mag's only got 5 in it, especially there when you're checking in and you're filling your targets and they're pulling ammo for chrono. I mean, it
a lot of
easy to
moving
happen.
parts.
They take your mag and you don't know what mag they took, and somebody talks to you or something happens, and before you know it, you forget to load your mag up. And so I kind of go through all that, and I just try to kind of collect my thoughts and just kind of get myself in the happy place and be ready to go.
You've remarked to me before about the mover event that you see the bullets tear the paper.
If I'm really relaxed and really tuned in, there's times where I can catch a glimpse of the jacket, going in the air, and then I can actually see them hit the target, and that's a good feeling when you see them hit in the good
level.
spot.
That is next level, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever wondered how the man won 18 Bianchi Cup championships, that's the next level. It's an interesting thing, though. In certain instances, and as many years as we've been doing that, you're shooting and winning that match, and I'm there covering it for the show. There have been instances where you've turned to me and said, John, what did that look like?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. I was filming you. I've got another guy filming the target. I don't know yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there are situations where you might not be in that tight of a zone.
Oh, it happens, and sometimes you're in and out of that zone per string, per shots in that string. There's times where I'm, like last year was an example. I mean, I don't know what it was. It was just something about the moment. If you remember, on the final day, I was the last shooter, and that storm was coming in, and the lightning was going, and I just kept saying, please God, just let me get through this thing. Don't dump on me right down. A little rain's fine, but I just kind of got there, and once I started to shoot, I was just seeing what I needed to see. I didn't shoot all X's, maybe at the close lines like I would have liked, but once I got back to 25, I just kind of had a mental deal with myself on, what I was going to accept for shots, because I knew, I was going to need to shoot really well, to win. And I just told myself, if it's not in the X ring, I'm not pulling the trigger. If I'm late, I'm late. That's just the way it's going to work out. And once I got to 25, I'll never forget, it's probably in all the years of my shooting the match, even though I have been successful and been very fortunate that it was probably the last 6 shots were the best I've ever closed out in that match. And I saw everything as it was happening. And when I shot the last 3 shots, I knew all 3 were right in the middle of the X ring. And I was just like, that was, for me, was an excellent way to finish. And, I was just excited for that, at that time. It didn't quite sink in, as it never does when it happens.
Sure,
you're so jacked up and everything that's going on in your mind, and it hasn't really sunk in until a little bit later.
It's been It's been a tremendous honor for me to have the access to those moments and to be there and, be allowed to be as close to that level of accuracy and precision and focus. And, I think it's taken a long time to ingratiate myself and my crew with the shooters, and especially you and others, so that we're not a distraction, so that we're there to do our job but not cause any distraction.
Right. Well, you guys do a great job with it.
Thing, man.
And it's, for me, it's nice. I've known you forever.
Yeah, it seems
and,
like.
And you guys, it all works. I don't even notice that you're there, as far as being an impingement or anything like that. And it's funny that you're right, though. Now that you say that, I remember lots of times I'd look at you and go like, some of those shots.
How was that?
How was that? I'm a little tight right now.
Here's an interesting sidebar. We most recently worked together at the Max Michel Pro Shooter experience that was out in at the Pro Gun Club in Las Vegas. And a small portion of that particular event involved the guys from the Halo Neuroscience company coming out with the Halo Sport Neuro Priming system and letting the competitors have a chance to try that, knowing that Max has been using it and seeing some benefits, and he remarks more about that in his social media feeds and so on. But I think at that point you had an opportunity to try one.
Absolutely.
Talk about that. I mean, I've seen a number of different improvements for me at my skill level, both in the shooting but also in the physical training. Tell the people how it's working for you.
Yeah, I've been using it now, a few weeks or close to a month, and I think for me, where it puts me or where it makes me feel, after all these years of training and prep work and shooting, it makes me feel like I'm further along in my training. So after just a few days, I felt like I would normally feel after maybe a month of practice.
There you go.
So to me, that's a humongous, enhancement of your time and energy, and for where I'm at in my shooting career, the other things that pull me from the range. Everybody thinks, oh, you're a pro shooter, you get truckloads of ammo, Hornady ammo. They just come drop ship it on your range, and you go shoot for 8 hours a day. And I wish it was that, but it's not that. I mean, there's, I have to schedule my time on the range like anybody else, because there's a lot more obligations on things that I'm doing for people, and which I love to do. But, to get that time on the range, anything I can do to get me where I need to be or where I want to be is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's a lot of conjecture on the internet about it. Does it work? Does it not work? All I can say is, if it doesn't work, I'll take 2 more, because for me it's, hey, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is on the mover events on long range, and the proof is in my gym. And for you, it's a matter of maximizing your time. You know what I mean? You know whether or not you're shooting well or not. You've been doing this long enough at the highest level to know, and, that's the bottom line.
And that's how I look at it. I mean, to me, I'm still testing it, still getting a feel and things like that. But, my initial thing, just like I said, it makes me feel like after, a few days of training, a few days of practice, that I'm way ahead of where I should have been. Typically it would take me X amount of rounds or X amount of days on the range to kind of get that feel, because that's what the shooting is. It's a timing, it's a feel, it's a confidence level, and anything that gets me there closer,
and at the end of the day, there's still a television show, the championship season.
Yeah.
Is this season 8?
I think I'm on 9.
9?
I think I'm on
Okay,
9.
I don't mean to undercut you, but my goodness, on top of all of that, there's a TV show. Talk about the championship season.
Yeah, well, again, back when it started, the whole premise was to kind of, show my lifestyle. And, when I started to shoot, you kind of had your separate groups. You had your shooters and your hunters, and nobody really kind of crossed over. And the whole thing for me was, I want to get more shooters to try hunting, get out and hunt, be part of that, conservation, things like that. And then I want to get the hunters, to come out, try some shooting, get more involved in it, because number one, it's going to help you be a better hunter when that time comes, to deal with the pressure, your buck fever, or you get that elk at 300 yards and you got, a certain amount of time to get set up and get on it. And to just, we're all one big family. I don't know why, it was kind of segregated like that, but I wanted to try to bring that whole thing together. And right now I think, still my show's kind of unique in that form and fashion, where we take the viewer, to a competition in one episode or half the episode, and then we roll into a hunt and we talk about the gear and how I would, set things up or get prepped for that. And, and then on top of that, the icing on the cake is having my kids involved and
Can't get
showing
better
how
than that.
showing how they're, starting out as young hunters and shooters and then turning into young men, and that's what it's all about for me. I mean, you know me long enough. Truly, it starts with family for me. I mean, that's the deal. That's my life, and that's my focus, and then everything else kind of spiders off of that.
There you go. Sportsman's Channel?
I'm on Pursuit.
Pursuit,
Yeah, I'm on the Pursuit channel.
All right, so it's the Doug Koenig's championship season on Pursuit, and it's 9th season. I'm sorry to shortcut you to 8.
Not at all. It's all right.
It's 9. And DougKoenig.com if people want to know more.
Absolutely.
And, we'll obviously have plenty of Doug Koenig in front of our cameras because Doug Koenig wins. That's it. What a great interview, sir. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I appreciate it very much.
We've got more coming from the NRA's annual meetings down here in Dallas. Stay tuned.